Daniel Case. He is a board member for your school board. Thank you for spending your time and doing this. Now, you told me you ran a little bit late because what were you doing right before this, which is kind of cool?
I was flying in Fort Payne.
He was flying an airplane. That's all.
License,
He was just flying a plane.
We like to fly.
How long have you been doing that?
I started about 20 years ago, but life and kids and things come up, and you can't always finish. So I'm finally able to go back and finish up. Funny story.
Okay, tell me a funny story.
The reason that I want to fly is from my kindergarten teacher, Fran Carroll.
She
was
still
a private
here?
pilot. No, she's not. She was my kindergarten teacher and my third grade teacher. They had moved her, and she had her private pilot's license. I thought that was the coolest thing in the world, and ever since kindergarten, I've wanted to fly an airplane.
Oh, that is neat.
So here we are.
So, how far are you flying when you're flying?
Today we just flew up over Sand Mountain, did some maneuvers. We're just kind of getting started again. We'll do cross countries here soon, where we hit different airports. And I fly quite a bit with my brother. He's a commercial pilot, manages a few jets in Chattanooga, so that keeps my interest.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So, what kind of plane is it?
The one I'm flying right now is a Cessna 182. It's just a little single engine. It'll carry 4 people, but sometimes I get to ride with him. We'll go in the Citation jet or the CJ2. We've been out to Vegas, and we go wherever on those.
How fun.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah, I like it.
So tell us about being on the school board. What is the most what has surprised you? Has there been anything about the work that you do on the school board that you've been like, wow, I didn't know that was going to be like that?
And coming into the school board, luckily, it's a small town, so you get to know everyone, people that have been on the school board before, people that are currently on as I was coming in or running for the election. And so I kind of had an idea of how things would go, but it's been surprising how slow the wheels turn. Being in business most of my life, all my adult life, if I need something done, we're able to make it happen. Whether it's buying property or a building or merchandise, whatever it is, and you've usually got employees that can help you execute whatever needs to happen. But in the school board, because we're elected officials, there's so many things that we have to discuss with the taxpayers or get the okay from. For example, like the SPLOST thing we're dealing with now. The ability to sell bonds, we have to make sure that the taxpayers are all right with that, just because technically they're our bosses, which is, I say a few times that the one thing I feel like in the past we've missed with teachers is the teachers kind of work for the school board per se. At the same time, they're also the taxpayers that we work for, and so their opinion carries a little more weight with me when it comes to what we do.
Yeah.
But yeah, how slow things are, how much legal documentation there is to make things happen, that's been a huge surprise.
One thing the kids asked in the survey that they did, or at least they wondered about, are you the person to call when it's snowing?
Oh, no. No.
They want to know.
I do get a lot of calls.
Who decides when school's out?
Right. Everybody asks me, and it's really not our decision. It's fortunately when Dr. Harris was here, they developed a team between the different schools and the principals, like yourself, and Josh Engel, who is the interim superintendent now, but they get with the 911 director and they check the roads, and they kind of have a formula they put together to determine if we're delaying or going to close. But yeah, it's really got nothing to do with the school board. The superintendent keeps us informed, but it's usually about 3 seconds before the rest of the people are informed.
Yeah.
So.
So do you get a lot of phone calls though when it's snowing?
I do. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. They say, "Come on, Dad. Let's." A lot of the kids call me Dad because they're always at our house, which I appreciate. So please let us out of school. I'm like, it's not my call, But yeah.
And how many kids do you have?
I have 2. I have Ethan and McKenna. Ethan just graduated this past year. He's 19. He went to one semester at UTC and decided it wasn't for him. He's now at Northeast, learning to weld, and he'll be working on his pilot's license here soon as well. So
cool.
He's flown some, and so he's going to finish those up. He was just telling me that before I came over here. And then McKenna is a junior at our high school. She's on the competition cheer team and the sideline cheer, and she's 17. Yep.
So tell us about you when you were in school. How many times did you get paddled?
Oh man, when growing up, I was one of the kids back before they really knew much about ADHD. And Bonnie Ford, my first grade teacher, she still apologizes to me to this day. I'm not kidding.
Did she mistreat you?
She paddled me every single day of first grade. I'm pretty confident. And the reason she apologizes is because we didn't know. It wasn't until second grade till they have medication, that kind of thing, to help you focus and not be so hyper. But, so it was a little different. But, every one of my teachers were very instrumental. Even the ones that a lot of people didn't like or didn't like their class. It's amazing to me what I was able to get out of their classes. Even being ADHD, I don't see it as a deficit by any means. I think my brain fires a little faster than most, and I'm able to pick things up a little faster, so it allows me to do a lot of stuff. Of course, I think that's also why I'm in business for myself.
I love that you're telling that, because we have so many children who struggle with the same thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they see it, not all the kids, but some kids see that as, well, I have ADHD, like that.
They're just uninformed.
Okay.
I mean, really, it's some of your top world leaders, believe it or not, are ADHD. Some of your most successful people are ADD or ADHD, and they used to think that you grew out of that. But as you study it, why you think the way you think, you learn to control certain things. ADD or ADHD people will typically take things a little more personal. Everything becomes personal. And so you kind of have to talk yourself out of being that kind of sensitive necessarily. But they're able to process things a little faster and learn a little faster. Their way of learning typically is not conventional. For example, flying, I've done 2 hours. I flew yesterday morning and this morning, and that's the first time I've been in a plane as pilot in command since 2002 when I soloed the first time. And so, and I landed the plane today. Nobody lands in 2 hours, but we went up, we flew, and he said, let's give it a shot. We did one landing, the second one I did. And I'm not bragging by any means. I'm just saying I think that what some people see as a deficiency or a disorder is, especially when medicated properly, is the exact opposite.
I like the way you said your brain just works quicker.
That's right.
What advice would you have to middle schoolers? What helped you, or what do you wish you had known when you were a student who maybe faced some of the challenges of having ADHD?
Probably don't take things so personal. One of the worst things that people would say, they'd be like, did you take your medicine today? And I'm like, I'm going to give you some medicine.
Yeah.
It becomes a touchy subject at times. But, and anybody in school, you think that's all there is in life. And it's not till you graduate that you realize all the things that you thought were so important really are just little blips on the radar.
Yes.
And life is so much bigger than that. And especially if a student does have ADD or ADHD, I encourage them. It kind of takes one to know one. So I can recognize sometimes when I see, especially in my wife's class, I can see some of those students, and I'm like, man, if their parents would get them on proper medication, they would be excelling. Not only would they not be struggling, they'd be excelling. And so if I would have known then what I know now, I would have paid a little more attention, not focused on some of the more personal things. I think I could have graduated well in college. I mean, I got out with a 3.88 GPA, and that was really not trying that hard even.
Yeah.
So I think if I could have paid attention a little better, focused more on my studies, I would have done better.
So when you were you in a middle school, or were you in this building?
No, my class is the only class that didn't come to this building.
Oh, you
Yep.
never set foot in this building.
No, the class of '98, we, believe it or not, I know this sounds bad, but I was struggling in fourth grade, and at the end of the year, my grades weren't where they needed to be for me to move on to fifth grade. One thing that helped, I'm not saying it's the deciding factor, but one thing that helped was if you brought boxes in for the teachers to pack their stuff in, you got extra credit.
Oh.
Fortunate for me, Dad had a hardware store. We had a lot of boxes, and so it helped my grades to be where they needed to be. Now I did have to put in some extra work as well, but My
The truth
class,
is known. He went to 5th grade because of boxes.
that's it. That's what it is. Yeah, but extra credit, right? But we, my class went from the old, or what is the old part of the elementary school. That was the middle school then, and the road used to come between the two buildings. It was, I don't know if you've seen some pictures of that. And we went straight to Dade County High School. This was Northwest Georgia High School then, and so yeah, I know my way around here with my kids being here and that kind of thing. But the only class that didn't make it over here.
So when you were the age of our middle schoolers, 11, 12, 13, some of them are 14, what did you think you were going to do when you grew up? Or did you think about it?
You know, I wasn't real sure. My family had a business here in town that had been in our family since 1904, so it was kind of known that's what we were going to do. Dad let us know that we could do whatever we wanted to. My dad, he was, and I think that's why I'm able to do as much as I do. You know, some people say, well, you can't do that, you don't know how to. And the way I look at things is whoever's doing it, whatever it is, let's say if it's editing these videos, they learn, so why can't I?
Yeah.
And that's the way I approach life. And so I knew I wanted to be a pilot then. I didn't realize how hard it is to be a commercial pilot. It takes a lot. You crawl before you walk. And I like using my hands. I like hardware. Growing up in the hardware store, I learned how to do so many things. And then my business now is we cut trees. We do right-of-way clearing. We do residential tree jobs. And that's not where I saw myself, but I thought for sure I'd be flying as a commercial pilot. But things changed a little bit. But now because of my tree company, I'm able to go finish my pilot license.
So what was your favorite subject in school?
Math.
Math?
Yes, I enjoyed math. The algebra, that kind of thing, I do well at. There again, being ADD, you learn a little different. And so nowadays with this, I guess it's Common Core, they've got the long way of doing math that just doesn't make sense at times. That's where an ADD person would struggle.
Yeah, because you
know.
probably could just do it and
I
not
could
want
look
to go
at
through
it.
the steps.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I know that it may sound bad again, but I got kicked out of a math class in high school. Me and Shane Wells did, and Shane was like me. We picked it up so fast, we ended up being a disruption to the class because we would be done long before anybody else. We want to help them. That's not what the teacher wanted. And so we ended up, I think in 2 weeks, we finished up that math class for the rest of the year and just kind of was a helper at the high school for that. But,
that was not my experience with math.
Right. Well, I like
all.
math.
Not at all. How do you think school has changed? And you have a wife who's a teacher, so you probably hear a lot about school from all areas, from having children and being on the board, and a wife who's a teacher. How do you think school has changed since you were a student?
It's, I don't know so much that school has changed. The lack of discipline. That's a big issue to me. Teachers and administrators aren't able to hold kids accountable. And I know society says that we shouldn't do certain things, but even if it's just consequences for certain tasks they do, the lack of discipline allows kids to just kind of run over the teachers, and they don't realize the injustice. Kids need boundaries. They crave boundaries. That's biblical. I mean, it's, and I think that's the biggest issue is that the school system doesn't allow, every kid, and I'm trying to put this in the proper words, every kid has to pass. Every kid has to be included in everything. Well, every kid's not made for everything. If this guy likes broadcasting better, man, that might be his wheelhouse. But yeah, he may get on the football field and be the worst one we ever had. Who knows? And that's all right. You know where you're at. But I don't like that. That's the one thing that I think schools could do better. But it's more at a state level. Is have some boundaries, have discipline, be able to hold these kids accountable because it'll make better adults out of them.
Did you were you involved in extracurriculars? Did you play sports or in any clubs or anything like that?
I did. I actually I played tennis in high school. I wrestled. I played basketball for a little while in middle school. Enjoyed that. I tried to dabble in a little bit of everything. ended up with mono like my daughter has right now. My junior year of high school, the 1 year that I was trying to play football. So I didn't get to play football, but I actually marched in the band from 7th grade to 10th grade.
What'd you play?
And started out with the trumpet, ended up on the quads and the snare. I like the drums, I like percussion. But, you know, it was cool. We enjoyed it. We had one of the biggest bands Dade County ever had back then. I thought we had like 136, but Bill Bankson was the director then, band director, and it was a good time. We really enjoyed it.
So, speaking of music, if you pulled up, do you listen to Spotify? How do you listen to your music?
I typically use Apple Music. I've got Spotify, Amazon Prime, all those, but
So were you listening to music in the car before you got here?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, what were you listening to?
I was actually listening to The Message on XM Radio. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I like contemporary Christian music, but I like every genre of music. If you look in my playlist, it goes from Gaither Vocal Band to AC/DC and, you know, everything in between.
Yeah.
I like music, any kind of music.
So what advice would you have to middle schoolers?
Oh, man, that's probably the toughest question. Just set a goal. Set a goal, focus on that goal, whether it's flying an airplane, whether it's cutting trees, whether it's broadcasting. Even now is a good time because you can determine your pathway for high school and don't lose sight of that goal. Keep working toward it.
I personally think that when you're young, you start realizing what your talents and your interests and your gifts are. And I believe very strongly that now is the age these kids are, this is when they're realizing, hey, I really love to draw, or
Right.
I really love whatever it is they love. And that's kind of how your gifts are revealed to you. And if you can then find a way to make a living at it,
Oh, yeah.
awesome. So did you find that to be true? What you do now, definitely with the flying, for sure,
Yeah.
but with what you do for a business too, was that anything that tied into your gifts that you realized when you were young?
You know, I'm very mechanically minded, and so and I like working with my hands. I knew that even at an early age. Being in the hardware business, we got to deal with chainsaws, power tools, that kind of thing. I liked shop in high school. I did construction class. I wasn't real sure. I thought I was going to the Air Force, actually. I wasn't real sure exactly how I was going to get there, but I was going to go. I just wanted to fly. That was my whole thing. But yeah, some of the things that we did in middle school and going into high school, kids have so many more opportunities now too.
Yes.
They can really. Man, the things that they can do in middle school and high school, for example, this interview here,
Yeah.
it's student led, and I would love for that to have been an option. So for them just to look around and see what's available, and I would say try it. If you fail, so what? You know, Abraham Lincoln failed many times. Thomas Edison failed more than the only times we remember are the times that they succeeded, but they failed so many times before they finally found where they were going to be. So I would encourage them to try the different avenues, the different things that's available to them, and don't let their peers dictate that.
Yeah.
You know, if there's something you're interested in, go for it. And if your friends laugh at you, maybe you need different friends. Who knows?
That's something to keep in mind, what he just said, especially 8th graders. You're going to be registering for high school soon. You don't need to register for classes because your buddy likes that class
That's
and says
exactly
he's
right.
signing up, because you don't know that your buddy's going to be in the same class as you anyway. You need to sign up for what you want to explore and what you're interested in.
Yeah, don't be afraid to have new friends, different friends. It may be that your goals and your roles in life put you in a totally different friend group than what you've got now, and that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you the best friends that you have in your life? Are they people that you knew through school at all?
No.
No.
As a matter of fact, I still keep up with some of my school friends. Our class was pretty tight. Most of them, they work just like me. You know, they're successful in my version of successful, and that is if you're doing what you like and you can get by, that's success right there. But so I keep up with them. I'm proud of them. But actually, my best friend I met 17 years ago, right before my daughter was born, and some of my other best friends I've just through business and things, we've, you know, like-minded we've become friends.
And I think that's important for middle schoolers to hear, because when you're middle school age, your friends are everything.
Oh, yeah.
And friends are important. They're so important. But that's not necessarily who you're going to end up having friendships with for the rest of your life. You're going to have lots of friends throughout your life, I hope.
I don't know if I can say this on camera, and you can edit it out if you have to, but I think God puts people in your life for seasons. I had a friend that lost a daughter, and he was a good friend of mine through school, and we still kind of close, but at the time that he lost his daughter to a tragic accident, I was very involved with him, trying to help him get through that. And I don't know why God put us there like he did, but it was beneficial for both of us to have that friendship through that, and we still touch base here and there and talk, but we're not as close as we were in school. But I'm a firm believer in that. God will put you in the right spot if you trust him.
Yeah, I've seen that to be true in my life too. Well, thank you for your time today, for sharing of yourself with us. And I think that the kids are going to benefit from just hearing your story, hearing the stories of other people, and knowing that you can be, was it 5th grade, thinking you wanted to fly a plane?
Yeah,
what grade?
Kindergarten.
Kindergarten. You can be in
Early
kindergarten,
on.
and you
Third
had the
grade, I
teacher
really
again
know
third.
Yep.
You can be kindergartner. What you're dreaming of right now, make it happen.
That's it.
Make it happen. There's not anything that you cannot achieve. Thank you so much.
ma'am.
And this has been a Wolverine moment.